Hey everyone, it's Michelle Caruana from Play Cafe Academy and Profitable Play. And I'm coming to you today with kind of like a hybrid type video. And what I mean by that is I'm answering a very common subscriber question. It's one that I get again on this YouTube channel. I see it in Playmaker Society. I get it in my Instagram DMs. And it's actually come up so often in Playmaker Society that I really wanted to get this content out there because it's so important. And failing to understand this topic can result in such an expensive mistake, like tens and tens of thousands of dollars or more, if again, you don't educate yourself before moving forward in the process. Now, the reason this is a hybrid type video is because I didn't really feel like I was an expert in this field. So the title of this video probably gave it away, but we're talking about graphic design and logo creation. And specifically, I really wanted to talk about Canva because while Canva is so accessible for us non-graphic designers and it's so easy to use, it really does have some limitations that we need to be cognizant of as business owners, or again, it could result in a very expensive and very, very detrimental mistake. So again, the reason this is a hybrid type video is because I reached out to an expert in the field. So somebody who is a certified Canva expert. And I wanted to ask her all of these questions because again, I also wanted to understand more about this myself so I can provide better guidance to you guys and to all of my members. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing a clip from my full guest expert interview that I did with Canva expert Brenda. And the reason this is only a clip is because, again, it talks about this one specific topic that I think people have a lot of misconceptions around. But this is just a 10-minute clip of an entire 45-minute full training in Canva that Brenda did, again, for Playmaker Society members. So if you want access to the full training, you're going to have to become a member. All of the information and links are in the video description. And I also linked Brenda's website and all of her resources, a lot of which are free or very inexpensive. So if you are excited about Canva and you're currently using it, I highly recommend checking out Brenda's resources. They're so actionable. They're so step-by-step. I certainly have a ton to do after wrapping up this guest expert interview in terms of organization and optimizing my account and making sure I'm set up to delegate these tasks effectively. And again, making sure I'm not breaching anything legally. So in this clip of the guest expert interview, again, we're going to be talking about what marketing assets you should create in Canva, but more importantly, which ones you should not be creating in Canva. And we're going to talk about why, and we're going to talk about the alternatives. And I also bring up some specific examples that I've seen in the indoor playground industry and some mistakes I've made myself. So before I share, Brenda's expertise with you, I just want to quickly remind you that if you find these videos helpful and you want to stay tuned to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to like this video. It helps so much. And I really want to get this information out to as many current and prospective indoor playground owners as possible. So again, give this video a like, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so you never miss a tip. But without further ado, here is Brenda. So I want to ask a question about something you alluded to a few minutes ago. So you
Mhm.
mentioned that Canva is a great tool for creating some, but not all of your marketing assets. So
Mhm.
can we talk a little bit about what marketing assets we don't necessarily want to create on Canva and why?
So there's two things that jump to mind. The first one is your logo. It just they make it so easy, and there's so many templates to do it, and there's just this robust elements library of all these icons and illustrations, and combined with all these fonts and shapes, you can create some really beautiful logos. The problem is that you cannot trademark any logo you create in Canva if you use anything from their elements library. If it's just fonts and shapes and lines, then you should be able to trademark it. But if you use anything that is in that element library, whether it's just a tiny little icon, you know, because that library is open to everybody to use, you cannot trademark it. And knowing that you are likely putting your logo on a lot of collateral, in some cases, very expensive collateral, If you're not able to trademark it and for some reason now you can no longer use that logo for some reason, you are going to have a real expensive trip to the printers because you're going to have to redo everything. So let's avoid that from the beginning. I do think it's a good tool though, if you are working with a graphic designer and you want to give them some ideas of what you have in mind, you can easily mock something up that they can then recreate and make it slightly unique so that it is trademarkable, that it is unique to you. So it's a great way to maybe get some inspiration and to assist your graphic designer if you're trying to take what's in your head and get it onto paper. But if you're going to use this logo officially, I definitely recommend not using Canva for that purpose. Canva can be fine for logos if you are creating something that is a quick online project that you don't need to be able to trademark, or if you can't trademark it for some reason. But I don't think the majority of people watching this will be in a position where they can't trademark the name or the logo that they're using associated with their business. So I would avoid Canva for the logo portion of it unless you're actually using it just for inspiration. The other kind of marketing material that jumps to mind that I would be very cautious about is any sort of complicated print project. If you are just doing business cards, Canva's set up to be able to do that and to be able to print directly through them. But if you are looking to do some sort of really cool printed piece, you're going to run into the limitations of the kind of file formatting and prep that you can do for your printer or that you can get printed directly through Canva. So it's, if you're doing something elaborate like that, you probably should be working with a graphic designer anyways, who's probably going to do it in one of the Adobe tools. But simple print pieces you can do, more complicated ones I would be careful with. But those are the two that kind of jump out to me. Everything else, you can do a lot of everything else in Canva if you need to.
And just for those listening, for a couple examples of things that I had to work with a graphic designer on and I couldn't do in Canva was when we do like vendor fairs or trade shows, I would have a really, really large banner and I would have
Yeah.
our rules and our waiver, because we would do soft play. We would have
Hmm.
some rules that parents had to abide by. And then we also had like a couple things printed on a tent. And I tried to do it in Canva the first time. And I tried to, bypass their file format recommendations. And I ended up having to redo the entire thing. So
Yeah.
just a couple, those are just a couple examples, but I've also seen businesses print instead of doing like a acrylic sign or something like that, or a backlit sign, they'll do a framed vinyl sign and they'll try to use Canva for something like that. Like they'll put their logo on and then some words that say like parties play. And it again has to be completely reprinted because it's so
Right.
large and Canva can't really support that. So just for anyone listening, kind of looking for some examples of those marketing materials that shouldn't be printed on Canva, those are a couple off the top of my head that I've seen.
Yeah, anything kind of large format would probably, it's just better to go with somebody who understands as well how to prep it for the printer. And you have enough to do. You're not going to want to be going back and forth and fiddling with it. You just don't have access to a lot of ability to change formatting and settings and all of that. And if you're using Canva to create something for online marketing, you're golden. But if you're looking to create something that's going to be printed, it's a smaller subset of materials that you're going to want to use it for.
Yeah, absolutely not. I've also had issues using it even for apparel. Um,
Yeah.
so that's just to give everybody a couple more examples of things that Canva might be limited in. It is very inexpensive, but again, with that inexpensive price tag comes some limitations. So
Yeah.
before we move on, because I have a couple more questions for you, I kind of wanted to just go back to the logo conversation really
Yeah.
quickly. Because something else that I've noticed a lot of indoor playgrounds specifically doing is creating their logo in Canva and they'll use the exact same rainbow or the exact same coffee cup with, the steam coming up, or they'll use the exact same like set of blocks as another indoor playground, like the
Hmm.
exact same one. And I can
Hmm.
tell immediately, like I've seen that somewhere before. Like right now, it's the rainbow, the
Yeah.
paintbrush rainbow that everybody is using. So not only is it something that you can't trademark, but that means that you might have almost the exact same logo as somebody else in your field, which could cause, a ton of problems. Like, for example, one of my students had somebody visit them recently and they had purchased a play pass from a play cafe like states and states
Oh
away
no.
because they had seen their Instagram and they went to a website and it had the same rainbow, the same look and feel logo. Because again, these sorts of graphic design trends come and go. So right now, lots of
Mhm.
people are using the rainbow with like the coffee cup. And so they purchased a play pass for that play cafe, came to this play cafe, and they said, well, your logo's the same. So
A lot of brand confusion can happen if you're all accessing the same visual assets. And what I also tend to find happens is when folks are searching for a particular illustration or icon in the Canva elements, they're you're all getting served up the same results. And a lot of the time, people are not scrolling very far down. So you're all choosing from the first handful of results as well. So there's a really good chance that not only are you going to use the same image as somebody else, you could potentially be using it the same one as somebody in your own region. And I mean, talk about brand confusion. And it's something you can completely sidestep just by investing with a graphic designer for that core branding piece. I'm a really big believer in, garbage in, garbage out. What you are putting in, not to say that anybody creating the branding in Canva is creating garbage, but the point is that you can't, you, the ability to create professional looking graphics in Canva is going to be impacted by the kinds of images that you are pulling into your account in the first place. So I do think there's a huge role for a talented professional graphic designer. Anytime you're going to be creating your visual branding, you want to invest in those core pieces. And I say this not as I'm not a graphic designer. This is not something that I do. It is something I invested in for my own business, though, and it was worth every penny because now I have a trademarkable, unique logo. I have worked with somebody to help me determine what is the color palette that I want to use, what is going to appeal to my specific ideal target market, what is going to give me something that is unique and give me these various visual elements that I can and assets that I can pull into the account and use when I'm creating my graphics. So I have a very customized pattern overlay. It goes from color to transparent, and I can use that over top of any images, instantly making a stock photo look branded for me. But I invested in having somebody create those. So I do think it's important, invest in your logo, invest in somebody to help you determine your fonts and your color palette. And then once you have that brand kit that's been professionally developed, then you can easily use that to create all of the other marketing materials on the fly and feel confident that what you're going to be churning out at the other end is going to look really professional and polished.
yeah, because those are all, like you mentioned, reusable assets. So it's not just if
Absolutely.
you're investing in a one-time effort, you can use
No.
those little pieces to make, like you said, all of your images look very cohesive and branded.
Yeah.
So one quick thing before we move on, if anybody's listening and kind of thinking, well, I don't really need to trademark, I don't really need, a trademarkable logo, that's not something that I need for my business. If you ever want to do a round of funding, if you ever want to start
Mm,
franchising or licensing or expanding your
yeah.
business, you're absolutely going to need to be able to trademark it. And if somebody has approached you and is interested in trademarking and franchising, they already have your brand recognition. So if you say, well, sure, but I need to change my logo completely first,
Yeah.
that's going to be a huge red flag. And a lot of those investors, potential franchisees or licensees, they're going to pull out because part of the benefit of investing in a franchise or a licensed location rather than starting one from scratch is that brand recognition. So, unfortunately,
Yes.
a lot of my students don't realize what cases they might need to trademark in until it's too late. And that will really
Mhm.
thwart any efforts that they want to make to expanding their business. So, I know for anyone at the beginning, it might seem so far away, but it's a very crucial and very, like you said, expensive mistake to make.
You're doing future you a favor by thinking about the potential applications of what it could happen down the road. Absolutely, because it takes a lot of time to build, far more time than I think we realize to build that brand recognition. You do not want to be starting from scratch at all, never mind losing the opportunity for, like you said, franchising or an investor. So do it right from the beginning. It is absolutely worth it. And what you end up investing extra at the beginning, you were far and again safe down the road, as well as a lot of headaches.
All right, that wraps up my conversation with certified Canva expert Brenda Cademan. Again, I linked all of her resources and her website and trainings below this video in the description, and all of my resources are there as well. My podcast is linked there. So, again, I brought this video to you today because I just wanted to caution you against these very expensive, very detrimental mistakes that can come up in the opening process. That is the entire reason I created this channel. It's why I created my Play Cafe Academy course. I don't want you to make the same mistakes so many prospective and current indoor playground owners have made or might make in the future. So, if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to cover, again, my Instagram DMs are open. My account is also linked in the description of this video. Feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to comment on this video. I want to put on this channel what you want to see. So again, if you found this helpful, leave this video a like, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and I will see you right back here with another tip soon. Bye, guys.